name's Mirko Cugura, and I'm here with my business partner Shane Nicholas. We're one of 4 partners, and we run a group called the Innate Financial Services Group. And basically what we do here is we run financial planning, wealth management, chartered accounting business, and we also run finance through the business. So it's the whole spectrum of financial services on offer.
The project we're going to talk was really about trying to mobilise our staff to get away from being stuck to a server and being in one location, to be able to get us out there and be a bit more mobile. We actually acquired an accounting practice about 4 years ago, and in that transaction we found ourselves with 2 locations, which was something new to us, and that led to it with a whole raft of complications about being able to work at the same platform and what have you. So that started our thinking and our discussion pieces with Zynet around how do we actually land in a solution where we can be in multiple locations but yet work off the same platform.
We were actually due for a server refresh, and we had to make the decision, do we, as we've done the last 3-4 occasions, spend anywhere in the vicinity of $60,000-$70,000 filling our IT room with hardware that was clearly redundant 3 years down the track. And it's quite interesting when you ask the question after 3 years, say, well, is this worth anything? And you get the big no, it's a boat anchor. So we took the opportunity to sort of sit down and map out with Zynet what our requirements were, and landed on having a go at the cloud solution.
This notion of cloud, I think it's everywhere really. So it's not something which was uncommon, but probably for us there was a degree of curiosity that went with that to say, well, what does that mean, and how can we actually probably use that in our business? And that's what I guess really led to the conversations with Zynet about, well, how can we adapt this notion of cloud and try and break down some of those barriers which are often perceived to be challenges or risks, or the notion that we don't want to change, and say, well, how can we be progressive in our thinking and have an IT partner like Zynet to support us.
There's certainly been a massive explosion in data centers and the like, and software as a service, and we did a fair bit of exploration to actually understand what that meant, and but there's only so much that we can sort of take in and sort of say what's right for us, what's not. And that's where sitting down with the guys from Zynet and being able to get the answers, and sort of saying, look, if this was my business, this is how I'd be implementing this strategy. And it was nice to sort of know that the recommendation was because it was the right one for you.
The concept of cloud brings with a degree of perception that because it's not here in our physical location, we haven't got as much control over it, and the risks that go with that. But when we asked ourselves the honest question, is it safer to be in a data warehouse somewhere which is looked after properly versus our server room, which is a good server room for all intent and purposes? When we answer the question truthfully, we come back and thought, well, in a data center, it gives us a far greater degree of risk management for our business, which I know I sleep better on the basis that it's looked after from that perspective.
And the data that we deal with is obviously very personal. It doesn't get much more personal than people's financial data. And when we sort of looked at that and sort of said, are we going to back ourselves to have the securities in place versus something like where we've landed, which is the Microsoft Azure? And it's like we'd be kidding ourselves to think that we're going to be more advanced than what Microsoft will be when it comes to sort of security technology. If you want to have cutting edge security and sort of mitigation strategies, this is the way to go about it from our perspective. The reality for most businesses today is that we use so many different pieces of third-party software that don't necessarily talk to each other. So it's only until you really get stuck into a particular project like this that you realise that perhaps someone is using a different type of database, or one system doesn't talk to another. And look, fortunately, we were able to work through all of those things, and we didn't have scenarios where the business couldn't function. It just meant that there's a little bit of heartache, but we sort of worked through that, and we're able to sort of resolve all the issues that came along. So, if anyone sort of said to you that these things are always seamless and without pain, I think they'd be kidding themselves. The real check, the real test is where did you finish up as an endpoint, and we're pleased to say that we're quite happy with the way it all ended up.
And I think it's from our point of view, having trust in your IT partner to think, well, yeah, there are challenges, but they're going to come back with solutions to overcome those with a really high priority around that, which for us was really comforting in that there was never a point in time where there was a challenge that was left hanging to our detriment. It was challenge, solution, fixed, which was terrific to work through it in that regard. For us, it wasn't necessarily about changing the dynamic of our business dramatically. It was more about enabling our business to be more mobile. So we landed at a point where the outcome that we've got today is exactly what we were looking for in terms of the workforce being more mobile. We've got a platform now which, at the time you make these decisions, you don't always know what the business is going to look like in the future. And today we've got a business operating platform which is very nimble and very adaptable to change as our business changes over time. So, overall we round that out and think it's been a terrific outcome in that we now have the ability to flex up and down in terms of our future business plans, and that was really the sort of intent at the start, not to radicalise the way we do things today or dramatically change the way we do things today, but be more adaptable to the future.
And looking at that, I suppose from a staff perspective as well, if you don't need to be in the office to do your job, our thinking was always if there's a way that we can enable people to either work from home or work from a client on site, it just adds flexibility. And being able to do that was really important, and it was actually part of our both staff attraction and retention policy to be able to offer that to staff. Certainly be very clear as a business of what you're trying to achieve, and make sure that your IT partner, in our case Zynet, has a good understanding of that, and that you feel like you're working together to sort of get to an end outcome together. It's a journey that you undertake, and you need to be prepared to be flexible and as Zynet have had to be with us, and to end up with the outcome that we have in mind.
And I think for any business who's looking at a similar kind of change, do we buy a server or do we go down the path of a cloud-based server? I think if you go through an exercise of assessing your business and what's likely to happen in the future, my suspicion is that you probably land at a point where you feel as though a cloud-based server will probably do the job for you the best if you can get over the barriers in your own mind about location of the server. We physically own it, we can go and touch it and feel it. If you can overcome that issue, then I think every time you look at this, you land in the same space that we have. One of the things that I feel very comfortable about in reflection is that I think we used the language earlier around this notion of someone sitting on your side of the table and looking at the project and the problems collectively with you. And I think from that point of view, having a partner that can do that for you is terrific.
With our question, that notion of having a partner in your business to sort of lead you through this is so important, and the other one I'd throw in is the trust notion, where you sort of feel that the advice that you're getting is in your best interests, and therefore you're not having to second guess the advice and sort of go, this doesn't sound right to me. You just sort of go, I trust that what's being put forward is the right thing for our business, and to me personally, that's really important. Zynet lived by that mantra that is important to us, which is whatever it takes to get the job done, and they certainly sort of did that.
We feel very, very comfortable that we have the right partner in our business from an IT point of view.